What is up guys, it's your boy Solheim here and back with another classic WoW video for Season of Discovery. Today we're talking about Phase 2 and because of that we are looking at some data mine information. I will be giving out a spoiler warning right now verbally and there should be one in the thumbnail as well, so you know exactly what you're clicking on. Now this is going to be some spoilers, so once again if you want to go into Phase 2 completely blind, then this is simply not the video for you. But if you want to know a little bit more about Phase 2 before it comes out, this is definitely the video for you. Before we go into the video, I want to say that we do have a gold making guide including early access to gold making videos and gold farms, investments, pretty much anything you want to know about gold making will be in my guide, plus early access to every single video that I'm making for gold making is also available in this guide. I'm working on a video series for Phase 2 which is 11 videos covering how to make gold in Phase 2, farm gold in Phase 2 and some professional advice and launch advice as well, and you will have access to all 11 of those videos before Phase 2 comes out by having this guide. If you haven't checked it out yet, it's a perfect way to learn more about gold making, make more gold and support me directly at the same time, and the link will be down below. That being said, today we're taking a look at Phase 2 and we're taking a look at some brand new items coming out, both from the raid and from the professions. There's a lot of epics here, so be aware, and there's a bunch of really good items that are going to be really fun to look at, and I can't wait to do the raid and get them. So we're starting off with no Merigan raid loot in the brand new patch, aka Phase 2 of Season of Discovery. So scrolling down we can start looking at them. We have weapons two-handed. In this category we have Defibrillating Staff. This is a staff with 11 stamina, 14 intellect, 15 spirit, increases healing done by spells and effects by up to 35, increases damage done by arcane spells and effects by up to 26. Obviously a healer staff right here, also appealing to arcane mages. For the chronomantic healing you want to do arcane damage to then do healing, so for this to be a perfect healing staff they had to put in the arcane damage, and there we go, arcane damage and healing done, the perfect healing staff. Also, it has a on-use effect. The staff will sometimes be able to shock a dead player back to life, cannot be used when in combat. It's basically a free resurrection that you can use when not in combat, and apparently, according to the way it's spelled right here, has a chance to, or will sometimes be able to. It might have a failure rate. Now we also have Thermoplug's Rocket Cleaver, a two-handed axe, 2.7 speed and a bunch of attack power, 29 strength and 12 stamina. We have the Hydro Staff as usual. We have Gizmotron Giga Chopper, a two-handed sword with 3.2 speed. So this one has a higher high end than the epic one. The epic obviously has more DPS, but the blue one right here has a bigger top end for the damage and a slower speed. It also has 22 strength and 9 agility. We have the supercharged head chopper, which in this case 2.8 speed and 13 strength, 12 intellect. We have Staff of the Evil Genius, 4 stamina, 4 intellect, increases chance to hit with spells and melee abilities and range attacks by 1%, and increases damage and healing done by magical spells and effects by up to 20. I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of underwhelming compared to BFD items. The epic staff from BFD is obviously better. If you're playing a healer, you have 2 staffs from BFD, the Wrathful Spire and whatever, like Twilight Sage or something. Those 2 are better still than this one as well, and even having the dagger and the offhand is almost just as good, maybe even better than this staff. So this one is really, I'm hoping there's some better stuff. Maybe some new epics for casters, but we'll see. We have the Gyromatic Micro Adjuster, not really anything to talk about here, good hunter item though. We have the Automatic Crowd Pummeler that we have talked about extensively in the past, but is usable by paladins, shamans and druids, has 2 speed, 22 strength, 8 agility. Because of this speed, I would probably not use this as a paladin or a shaman. Probably only as a druid, because the speed makes it so that this one is really weird and doesn't really hit that much per hit. But either way, you can use it as a paladin, shaman and druid, has plus attack power in cat, bear and dire bear form, and it also has a on-use effect to increase your attack speed by 50% for 30 seconds. Then we have a bunch of epics in the main hand slot. We have Electrocutioner's Needle. This is a main hand right here, discharge a mote of thunder dealing 25 to 35 nature damage. We have Mechatorque's Arcane Shredder, also a main-handed weapon, a fist weapon in this case. Chance on hit, discharge a blast of arcane energy dealing 40 arcane damage, reducing all resistances by 45 and increasing all spell damage taken by 6% for 5 minutes. Okay, this one could be interesting, especially like if you're running a caster heavy composition. Having somebody like in the tank or something, like having somebody use this one to get that reduction for resistance and also increase spell damage taken could be absolutely massive. We also have the Glimmering Gizmo Blade. This one, once again, kind of underwhelming to be an epic if you ask me, but we can take a look at some BFD epics. Not even just epic, just a dagger from BFD. This one increases damage and healing done by magical effects and spells by up to 19. Also gives you 4 intellect and gives you 7 stamina. Actually, let me log into my Warlock right now and look at how much we have. This one gives 19 in total though. Then for main hand we have Gear Mender's Grace. This one increases healing done by spells and effects by up to 20 in that case. We have Toxic Revenger 2, an upscaled item of that dagger right there, 1.9 speed. We have a 1.6 speed one-handed axe with a puncturing wound effect. Chance on hit. We have the Oscillating Blast Hammer, increases defense plus 4, and Mechanostrider Muffler, a one-handed mace with increased attack power. We also have a couple of offhands here. We have this one right here, the Repair Manual, increases healing done by spells and effects by up to 22. That's a lot, by the way. And then we have the Necronomicon. Okay, we're also in game right now, so let me take a look at the dagger that I personally have. We have yeah, so plus 12. We're going from plus 12 to plus 19, so you know what, I take it back. The plus 19 dagger is a lot better, and the offhand we currently have is plus 7. So the offhand we're getting from Normer is plus 14, as you can see right here. So going from plus 7 to plus 14, pretty good upgrade right there. We have Shoney's Dismantling Tool, which could be really useful in PvP. That being said, it's only a chance on hit, but still it could be useful. Hunters are once again getting some love from having a epic gun this time, which makes sense. It's Normer again after all, really makes sense. You have Thermoplug's Custom Blaster, 26.55 damage per second, 2.9 speed and plus 26 range attack power. You also have a couple of other guns, crossbows and stuff that isn't really notable. That being said, we do have a notable wand. A wand that has arcane damage and also increases damage and healing done by magical spells by up to 9. So we're finally getting a wand with additional stats as well, which is absolutely great. Then we have some amulets, aka necklaces in this case, and we have one epic for pretty much every role or every class. We have the Justice Badge, which gives strength and stamina, increases chance to dodge and attack by 1%, and also gives you plus 4 defense. We have one with stamina, attack power, and improved chance to get critical strikes. We have one with stamina, intellect and spirit, and increases damage and healing done by 9, plus restores some mana per second. Then we have one that is pure healing, increases healing done by spells by up to 13. So the other one was plus 9, but it's damage and healing. The healing only one gives more, but once again, it's only for healing. Then we have Ingenuity's Cover, there we go, said it correctly. This one gives you 4 stamina, 9 intellect, and a bunch of healing and damage done. We have one for strength, agility. This one even reduces your fall speed, that's really cool. And we have one more that is only for healers, so looking good so far. And one thing I will say is that so far I'm seeing a lot less trash items in Normer again compared to BFD, which is one thing I was really hoping for. A little bit less useless items and more useful items. And now that I've said that, we finally see some cloaks, and they're looking bad. I hope both of these cloaks don't end up being in the game because they're kind of useless, but hey, 6 spirit, 11 frost resistance, and 3 intellect and 12 spirit. We also have a bunch of epic rings. We have the Hypercharged Gear of Innovation. It's worth noting that these guys have something called Unique Equipped Hypercharged Gear, which to me signals that everyone can have one ring here, but only one. So there's one for healers, one for casters, and one for melee. The melee one gives you strength, agility, stamina, and all of them gives you both arcane and nature resistance as well. We have Electrocutioner Hexnut. This one increases healing done and damage done by spells, and we have Talvash's Brilliant Gold Ring, and also Nog's Brilliant Gold Ring. So if you want to stack stamina, you have 2 rings, both of which offering you pretty significant amounts of stamina. Next up, we also have some trinkets. So we have the miniaturized combustion chamber. This one gives you intellect, fire resistance, increases damage and healing done by magical spells and effects by up to 12, and on use randomly channels between 1 and 150 health into between 1 and 150 mana every 1 second for 10 seconds. So randomly, channeling health into mana. I mean, I'll take it. That's huge. We have some mana problems still as casters, so that's pretty significant. Then we have Gyromatic Experiment 420B. I see what he did there. We have Frost Resistance, Attack Power, increases attack speed by 5% on an unused cooldown. You may be able to push this experiment further. Okay. Doesn't really tell us how, but that's interesting. Then we have Niodine Pill Bottle. This one is looking like a healer thing. It's Spirit. Equip restores mana per 5 seconds. And on use, make target ally immune to snare and immobilizing effects for the next 5 seconds. And also removes existing snare and immobilizing effects. It's a healer MP5 support trinket. Then we have a stamina one, Wordle's Hardened Core, giving you stamina, arcane resistance, nature resistance, increases your chance to dodge an attack by 1%, and on use, increases armor by 1000, but movement speed is reduced by 60%. Effect cannot be removed and lasts for 10 seconds. Then we have Trog Transfigurator, basically just a cosmetic effect, and then we have Domesticated Attack Chicken. Release your domesticated attack chicken that will fight for you for 1.5 minutes, or until defeated, on a 30-minute cooldown. Scrolling down, we're going to take a look at some armor right now. So we have the cloth armor first of all, we have synthetic mantle in this case. And it's looking like they have a bunch of increased armor on literally everything here. But we have synthetic mantle with increased armor, 8 stamina, 9 intellect, and 12 damage and healing. We have the hyperconductive robe and hyperconductive Simber shirt, one of them giving you damage and healing, one of them only giving you healing and MP5. We also have mech builders overalls, kind of a trash item, but having armor, stamina, and intellect. We also have irradiated robe, as you can see here. This one gives you some negative stats and some plus stats and gives you damage and healing in this case. So instead of just having one tier set for cloth, we will now have 3 separate ones, and if I understood them correctly based on their preview, we're getting tokens dropping from the raid that you can then hand in to get these, the actual tier sets, right? So you can choose to have either the Shimmer shirt, we can have the robes, or you can have the irradiated robes as well, based on whichever one you choose to get. We have Pristine Sivened robes, which is kind of a trash item, really wish it wasn't even there, just taking up an unnecessary spot on the loot table, but either way, we have Levis, oil-stained bindings, stamina, intellect, and healing, and magical damage, so damage and healing. We have another bracer as well that is only for healing, so this is great. They're splitting the loot between both healers and casters to where they both want the same thing, because in BFD what we saw was that healers wanted to have basically the same items as casters did, and getting a healer or a caster geared in BFD was absolutely impossible. I've been doing the raid since week 1, and none of my casters, I have 5 casters, not a single one of them has full bis yet. Not a single one. Then we have Fighter Ace Gloves, this one, increased armor points, stamina, intellect, and damage and healing. Scrolling down we have Waste once again, and we have both a caster version and a healer version with significant differences, one of them giving you damage and healing done by up to 8, and one giving you up to 24 healing points. Pretty massive right there. Then once again for the legs we have the tier set, so we have the shimmer, the pantaloons, the skirt, or even the radiated trousers in this case. Lastly, we have boots, and in this case we also once again have the 3 different tier sets. So we have the hyperconductive sandals, irradiated boots, and also hyperconductive walkers, and we have acidic walkers as well. Scrolling down we can start leather armor, so we have helm, none from the raid, so no helms, but I think we can craft them from the EPICS, right, from having the correct professions. So none from the raid, that's an interesting choice. But either way, for shoulders we have the Mantle of the Cunning Negotiator for 14 agility or 11 stamina. We have generously padded shoulder pads for healers in this case, so increasing healing done by spells and effects by up to 11. It's interesting how this one is only healing, because we also have boomkins, but I'm guessing boomkins can use the cloth version, but still. They're choosing to have a boomkin, not a Resto Druid version, but not a boomkin version. Interesting. Then we have the insulated apron, we have insulated chest guards. Oh yeah, so we only have 2 different ones for leather, makes sense. So one for damage and healing, so now we have damage and healing, and chance to hit with spells and also stuff like that. So healing, boomkin, Resto Druid right here. Then insulated chest guard as well, which gives you strength, agility, and stamina. Then we have the Ornate Dark Iron Bangles, increases your chance to hit by 1% and gives you healing and damage done right there. We have Machinist Gloves. This one gives you 7 strength, 8 agility, plus 30 attack power when fighting mechanical units. Holy, isn't that going to be massive in Normal again? And 1% chance to hit, of course. In addition to that, we have the Waist Guard as well, increases your chance to get a crit with 1%, so you're getting a bunch of hit and a bunch of crit, just from regular items. Then we have Cord of the Deep Earth, which once again, increases damage done by nature spells and effects. Petrol Spill Pants right here, 21 agility, and we have 13 strength, 8 agility on the tier set. Nimble Trip Runner Dungarees, man. Finally, we have a level 40 upscaled version, 21 agility, 5 strength and 8 stamina. I can't wait to get those, that's gonna be insane. Just like a throwback to doing Nomer so many times when I was playing hardcore, having Trip Runner Dungarees but the nimble ones, I'll take that, man. So we have the insulated work boots, once again, the tier set right here, right, and we have the insulated galoshes for the other tier set. Next up we have mail, and once again there are no mail helm from the raid, at least Datamining so far. So starting off with shoulders, we have Trog Slayer Pauldrons giving you agility, intellect and attack power. We also have Lightning Rod Spoilers giving you intellect, damage done by nature spells, and 1% chance to get a critical hit. Then we have the chest armor, we have tier pieces, we have 2 different ones, one giving you strength, agility, stamina and intellect, and focusing more on the attack power here, so you have like 2 set bonus for attack power and 1 focusing more on casting, increasing damage and healing done by magical spells and effects by 20, and also 2 set bonus giving you more damage done and healing done by magical spells, so 1 magic tier set and 1 melee tier set for the male one. Then we have these ones right here, experimental aim stabilizers, 7 agility plus 22 attack power, and we have Fingers of Arcane Accuracy, 6 agility, 7 stamina, 10 intellect, improves your chance to hit with spells and melee abilities and range attacks by 1%. We have the Power Assisted Lifting Belt, increases 2-handed axes plus 5, increases 2-handed swords plus 5 and 2-handed maces, also plus 5. So we have Edge Masters Junior. Yeah, Edge Masters Junior. Okay, I'll take that. We have Electromantic Waist Cord, this one once again focusing on the magic abilities, and we have a waist focusing more on the melee abilities as well. We have for legs, once again, tier set, 1 focusing on melee, and 1 focusing on casting. We have Tremble Reinforced Leggings, with a bunch of armor and increased defense plus 6. Last but not least, we have the brand new armor type that we haven't had until phase 2, and that's going to be plate. For this one, once again, no helm and only 1 shoulder. The machined alloy shoulder plates, 410 armor, 12 strength, and 11 stamina. We also have 2 different tier sets, 1 focusing like it's called Hazard, giving you attack power, and 1 giving you healing or spell damage, so Shock Forged. It's also called Shock Forged, basically Shockadin hype. Any Shockadin? Having looked at the Paladin runes, like Shockadins are making a big comeback, man. We also have the welded true silver ringlets. These ones are once again focusing on the Holy Paladin aspect, so 6 stamina, 5 intellect, and increases damage done by holy spells and effects by up to 14. We have Grubby's Grubby Gauntlet. 9 strength, 5 agility, and 1% chance to crit, giving, seriously, melee and everyone basically is getting so much hit and so much crit outside of the tier sets, and we also have the epics from professions to go through. We're gonna have so many stats, dude. We're gonna be as powerful at level 40 right now that we usually are at level 60 with Molten Core gear. This is mental. Then we have Girdle of Reclamation, once again focusing on damage and healing done by casting or like magic damage, and 1 belt focusing more on melee, so 9 strength, 5 stamina, and 1% chance to crit once again. So warriors, you're gonna have so much crit, man, when phase 2 is here. We have the hazard leg plates, well, once again melee tier leg plates and caster leg plates or healer leg plates. So for the melee one, 1% chance to get a critical strike. Again, more critical strike, and then damage and healing done for Shockforge plates, focusing both on healing and damage, so Holy Paladins, get ready, it's gonna be fun. Then we have Cavern Deep Sabatons, 7 strength, 9 agility, 10 stamina, and plus 4 defense. I do think most people will opt to go for the tier sets though, so we have the Hazard Boot and a Shockforge Battle Boot. And that's all the loot we have from the raid. So far, I'm kind of impressed. There's a lot less trash items in this one compared to BFD, if you ask me, and most of the items are looking really interesting, and I do like seeing all the green text. For some reason, seeing that green text makes me think the item is just gonna be so much better. Just having those green stats, increasing attack power, critical strike, giving you more healing, more damage, hit percentage. The green stats are just fantastic to see. We also have some brand new items from professions, and I'm not going to go through all of these because they're basically just, it doesn't really tell you too much about the items, but I'm going to go through the epics because we can talk about what they give, so I'm just going to open these in a brand new tab, and we can then take a look at all of the epics we're getting from every single profession. There's 4 of them from leatherworking, 2 of them from engineering, and 1 of them from tailoring. We can start this off with engineering first, and I'm really happy to see that we're getting engineering epics. I was really hoping and thinking we would get that for phase 2, so just having it confirmed is absolutely massive. For this one, I'm just going to drag this page a little bit more that way. There we go. So hyperconductive gold wrap. For this one, it requires engineering 225 skill, improves your chance to get a critical strike with spells and melee abilities and everything by 1%. Also has an equip effect, improves your chance to hit with spells and with melee and range attacks by 1%. So 1% hit and 1% crit on 1 item. Then on use effect, pull a hyperconductive coin from your belt and flip it. On a roll of heads, you get 3% increased chance to crit with spells and melee abilities and attacks for the next 30 seconds. On a roll of tails, you get 10% movement speed for the next 30 seconds. Sounds really cool, but I'm not really sure how I feel about the RNG element of that one, but either way, I'll take it, man. I guess it kind of makes sense with the whole gnome aspect of Gnome again, right? Kind of makes sense, but the whole RNG aspect could be really annoying. Then we have another one, so first of all, this is a belt. We have another one right here for tanks as well. It's an epic shield, which a couple of us in my guild were kind of suggesting for phase 2, and I'm really happy to see it's coming. We have this one, 1760 armor, 29 block, 9 strength, 10 stamina, 1% increased chance to block, and equip on a successful block. The whirling razor sharp gears on the shield inflicts damage to the attacker, and also a little bit of damage to the bearer of the shield as well. Moving on to leatherworking, we have glowing neural linked cowl. This one gives you 14 strength, 14 agility, 14 stamina, improves your chance to hit with spells and with melee and ranged attacks by 1%, so 1% chance to hit, and on use inflicts neurological shock, instantly dealing X amount of damage, in this case 343 to 757 damage to yourself, but also increasing your melee and range attack speed, attack speed by 20% for 10 seconds on a 10-minute cooldown. That's pretty massive and really fun to see, and fun to play around with. And here we have the same thing for mail and stamina and intellect, and increases damage and healing done by up to 21, and it's the same thing, like spell casting speed for mail. Then we have this one for leather, which is 11 stamina, 12 intellect, 11 spirit, 21 damage and healing, and on use you gain neuromatic Neuromantic Meditation, allowing 100% of your mana regen to continue while casting for 20 seconds. Next up we have this one for male as well, once again from leatherworking, giving you strength, agility, stamina and intellect. This one gives you once again 1% chance to hit, and on use engage with the radiation mitigation protocols in the helmet, causing you to immediately remove all active poison effects and gain immunity to all nature damage for 3 seconds. Those are the leatherworking ones. Moving on, we also have the Neural Linked Arcano Filament Monocle. This one is from tailoring in this case. It's a head item, so it makes sense. If you want to have a head item in phase 2 kind of, you want to have a profession like leatherworking or tailoring to make that for you. I'm hoping and guessing blacksmithing could get one as well eventually, but for now it looks like it's only leatherworking. Like going back here, there's nothing for blacksmithing, right? Yeah, no, nothing for blacksmithing so far. So it's only engineering, leatherworking and tailoring. Going back to the tailoring one though, we have this one. Increases damage and healing done by spells and abilities by 22, 4 mana per 5 seconds, and on use you can harness the latent arcane energy in the nearby air to give you charged inspiration, reducing the mana cost of all spells by 50% for 12 seconds. This will give you a really big burst window where your spells cost half their usual cost and really help with the whole mana problems that we have been experiencing. There we go. Overall, a lot of really cool items coming in phase 2, and we have a bunch more epics this time than we had in phase 1. I can't wait to see how overpowered we're going to be, and let me know your thoughts on all of the raid loot and the professional loot and items in the comments down below. Is it a good change? Is it a bad change? Once again, let me know your thoughts on everything in the comments down below. Personally, I think it's a really good change. A lot less trash items this time around compared to BFD, which, like, the first 2 bosses of BFD, they barely dropped anything good, even including the third boss. He had like, or I guess she had like 3 good items. Everything else was absolute garbage, so hopefully they just spread the loot out a little bit more this time, and in the very least there's way less bad items that nobody wants this time around. It's gonna be fun, I can't wait. Once again, leave your thoughts in the comments down below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Peace.